This one has a lot of hair. This one has a normal amount of hair. It's Pat and Alex. This one was born in Raytown. This one lives in Raytown. They opened a store in the pandemic, and this is a show about it. Hustle and bustle, hustle and bustle, hustle and bustle. Here is the show.
Hello and welcome back to Hustle and Bustle. I'm Pat.
I'm Alex.
It has been a minute. We've been in here recording, though.
Yeah.
We've been here practicing a lot, getting a lot of rehearsals, and experiencing some technical difficulties.
All of them.
Yeah.
Imagine a technical difficulty. We've experienced it.
In my years of podcasting, you have seasons of this where it just happens, cascading failures, and, you just work through it. So here we are again. We're pretty sure this one's going to get out to you.
I feel confident. I spent a lot of time testing things. And
Yep. So here we go. We have a few things to talk about. So I don't even know. I guess this is all going to feel repetitive, but we've probably not talked about fucking anything.
That's true.
So let's just pretend this is the first announcements in a month, because it probably is. Announcements. So big Midnight Madness coming up February 3rd, 2024. We've made some drops online. Go check out. If you don't follow us, I have no idea how the fuck you could be listening to this podcast. But if you don't, go check out the reel that we put out about Midnight Madness. I think it is the best encapsulation of the vibes we're going for in terms of like music, fun, and a little bit of rugby sprinkled in there.
Yeah, it's a blast. And we've kind of turned it up a notch this year. So
we've got the Royal Chief coming, who is a rapper friend of mine and ours in the podcast world that we live in. So the Royal Chief, a.k.a. Jamel Thompson, has been on Raytown Public Radio back in the day when we did it. And he is just a local rapper who's been grinding away for years at this point. And I think he's really talented. I think he's really good. I enjoy his music. And he's really upping his game in terms of his production value and what he's doing professionally, as an independent artist. So I think he's really cool, and I love his music, and I'm excited as shit for him to perform.
Yeah.
And then we've got Fight Dream, who is another band out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. And they are entirely different vibe, but a very fun one. And then we're nailing down the third act at the moment, but it's going to be really dope. So we'll have 3 musical performances. We're going to have a vintage village. So a bunch of vendors coming up for that. So anyways, a lot of cool stuff is going to be leaking out. Vibetown Burgers will be there. Really delicious smash burgers that are making me hungrier as I sit here. But Midnight Madness coming up February 3rd. That's going to be really dope. Keep looking out for some more announcements from that. And then really, as far as announcements go, Crane Brewing is now serving some food.
Yeah, they got like 3 sandwiches on the board.
Yeah, so it's exciting. They just posted about it. It's almost like they're doing like a soft opening.
Soft opening, yeah.
It's like a soft opening of their kitchen is what it feels like. Crane has had a fight to get the kitchen open for a long ass time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's had to do with like the land being on both county property and city property, and like needing paving and certain hitting certain requirements that you needed in order to get certain licenses to open a commercial kitchen, yada yada yada. It was a pain for Hart Barbecue when they were there to operate out of there. But long and short of it is, it sounds like they've had some success and are winning the war.
Yeah, I would say there's slow and steady updates, which is the good kind, I think.
Yeah. I think that's a huge, for that business, which is a flagship business in Raytown. We've talked about it. Like, if you're the city of Raytown, if you run the Chamber of Commerce, or if you're the mayor, like if Crane were to leave Raytown, that would be a really bad PR hit.
Yeah.
I think about as bad as one inch you could get, in the Raytown business world.
It would be like you throwing up and then trying to convince everybody you're not sick.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that seems like a really healthy move for them, and exciting because as we talked about it, some of the people that invested in Crane, at least one of them, is a guy that owns Guys, and a whole bunch of other food brands. Casamigos. Is it Casamigos he owns? No, what is it? The Una Familia.
I don't know.
The tequila, the Spanish Gardens, salsa, a million of these brands, Silva's. But if they're starting to invest in Raytown, and it looks like they are, and it looks like this is Guy's Bodega Food, which there are multiple Guy's Bodega or Guy's Deli restaurant places around town.
Yeah,
that would be a really big get for downtown Raytown.
Yes, especially if like we want to establish ourselves as like a little bike area,
right?
Or bike traveling, it just further adds value to that space and our street.
Like Raytown has great barbecue, the best barbecue in town. Then you've got pretty damn good Mexican food. You got pretty good Chinese food. You got all your fast casual Jimmy John's, Chipotle, Subway. And you got a bunch of breakfast spots.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it.
I know.
There's not a lot of lunchy spots. And I think if you're going to come ride a bike and drink a beer, like...
That's true. When I
deli
pull
helps.
out Google Maps and be like, when am I going to eat for lunch? And like, I'm not a huge fan of Mexican. Your options are pretty slim if it's not hard or fast food. I know. I'll take some slack for that. But this is a good opportunity. I'll probably visit them pretty frequently.
Salads in Raytown, baby. Here we come. Ferris wheel is opening. Have you seen this thing driving down I-35? I think I saw it a couple weeks ago for the first time.
For the first time?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't drive that stretch of highway that often.
That's fair.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like up in there. That's the question mark.
I know. You'll see a lot of highway and like a lot of industrial and warehouse sector. But I think it's just a little bit ahead of its time for like the area to catch up.
Do we need to would it be wise to let a month or two of operation go before you try to get in there? Just to make sure there's no Schlitterbahn type thing going on here? Because, I am terrified of regular Ferris wheels because you just swing back and forth. It's open air. And, what's stopping you from swinging all the way around and falling out? You know what I mean? But these are enclosed. It seems safer. But that's what they thought about the Titanic.
That's true. That's when the most tragic accidents happen, is when you feel like you're most safe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it'll be okay. It's not that big of a Ferris wheel. As far as Ferris wheels go, I feel like it's a safe size.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited for that area to pop off.
The other thing in announcements is East-West rail car. I don't even know if this fits in announcements, but because it's not us announcing it. But did you see that there's an East-West rail streetcar line that's being planned?
Yeah, it's like 39th Street? I don't remember.
It's interesting. It's basically, it's a pretty, how would you, inner city kind of line.
Yeah.
Right? The one now services from River Market to UMKC, which is pretty bougie, I would say. Now, it straddles Midtown and it kind of straddles the border between the economic divide of Kansas City.
Yeah.
This one is mostly, I would say, servicing lower income areas, which I think is an interesting, because in my own biased suburban head from where I come from, if I was going to go east-west, I probably would have gone east-west, I wouldn't have gone the same corridor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's probably the people in lower income areas that need public transit more.
Yeah,
obviously. So maybe that makes the most sense.
It's someone hopefully is looking at it with some economic sense and what are the cost benefits of adding permanent public transport in high density areas that use it.
See, I was thinking, how do we connect commercial areas or destination areas?
Which I think was what the first one did. It connected probably the top 4 or 5 biggest entertainment districts in downtown Kansas City.
Right.
So yeah, this is. That's a good idea.
I think it's cool. The Metrolink in St. Louis, I use it all the time, and it was the same.
Took it for granted.
Mostly serviced lower income areas.
When I was in New York for a month, I was like, subways are the best thing ever, or the buses were the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then I did try to use the bus here once when I moved back, and they're awful.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
Yeah.
If you have to get somewhere in a timely manner, it's impossible.
No, I did it once. I went to the airport once on a bus when I was super poor.
Airport?
Oh, dude, it took forever, and just some gnarly people watching, bro. Gnarly people watching.
That's wild.
Yeah, and that's our privilege right there. But no, I think the rail car line is dope. It seems like just yesterday this was all a concept, and now the rail car is cutting all the way down to UMKC, and that seems like it's well underway, and now they're announcing the East-West.
Well, okay, so this is sidebar I just had, interject. I was driving down, doing a delivery.
Main Street's a shit show right now. Getting anywhere.
Yeah, it's been a shit show for 2 years. I assume that's just the norm.
Yeah.
I would have moved. I couldn't deal with it.
Oh.
Even if they said we're done in 6 months, I'm like 6 months too long. But anyway, so I was doing a small delivery for my fundraising business in like this small city in Missouri. Drove through a couple small towns, and it was like comparing small downtowns to our downtown and like suburban areas, Johnson County. And public transportation is like a huge missing link to walkability.
Yeah.
And having like an enjoyable place where you can walk and get things done. Because you have to have a fucking parking lot. Like if you drive down most just suburban downtowns, building, space, parking lot, building, space, parking lot, building. So if you want to walk and do something, the odds of your, chores being in like a 3 building radius are like 0. So it's if
you look at the history of America, obviously I'm uneducated here, but pretty much all major cities, like Kansas City used to have a major rail line. Kansas City used to have a huge fucking tunnel that connected Kansas City, Kansas to the West Bottoms, and that's how our cattle got down to the fucking stockyards from Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah.
Like public transit was a huge part of everything. Like we have pictures of like my grandpa's great aunt riding the rail car line in Kansas City. But we got away from it, probably largely because of the auto industry, I would imagine, and that became its whole other thing. Then that became a huge, you mean we shouldn't be burning gas like this all the time everywhere we go? And then now it's expensive, I think, and I think people are too poor. I think people need public transit out of economic fucking reasons as much as they need it out of.
Yeah.
I mean, if the way that our cities were built coming into now, throughout our lifetimes, or for our lifetimes, was that you had to have a car to fucking exist.
Yeah, for like the last 80 years. So
yes.
Like in anyone's current generation, 90% of the people alive right now, the city you're living in was built with the idea that everyone will be driving their own individual car.
So now to not live in your mom's basement, you have to not only be able to afford an apartment and the bills that go with it and have a job, but have a fucking car to get to and from that job and all the costs associated with just the car.
Yeah.
So but we made it really hard because it was pretty easy to get out of mom's basement there for a lot of decades, and it was the expectation. And now it's getting pretty fucking hard again, and people aren't doing it anymore. And it's harder than ever to maybe do it because the infrastructure.
Yeah. I got opinions about that, but...
About mom's basement?
Yeah.
You put it another way. You know what I mean? Like,
it's harder to end up, or it's easier to end up in mom's basement.
Yeah.
I think it's also a little bit easier to get out, but I think it's much easier to be like, oh, shit.
Right.
And have to end up there.
Well, getting back to the rail lines. So allegedly, there's how we turned Rock Island, which was an old railroad, into a trail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, allegedly that was just part one of a 2-phase plan to turn it back into like a local streetcar line. Now, I don't think that ever happens in our lifetime, but how fucking cool would it be if the Rock Island Trail, which connects Lee Summit to the Arrowhead, one day connected to the streetcar line. Yeah. What would that do for Raytown if you could get on a fucking train in Lee Summit and ride it to the Arrowhead Stadium or to the Plaza or to...
All it has to do, not even that, just go to a junction to where you can get to all of those places.
Right.
Like even if you could just go to the station... that's at the Arrowhead, and then from there you could go to wherever you wanted in the KC Metro. But if there's anybody with any type of influence and money working on that,
yeah, dude, railroads are cool. I would love to. I think they're cool. Like public transit like that is enjoyable. Buses not so enjoyable.
Yeah.
Trains more fun. Around the water cooler, you found a couple things. AI pins to replace phones.
Yeah, so it's this company. I don't think whatever device this is will ever do it. The phone it's going to take a hell of a device to replace these. Like these are.
Yeah.
It's like going to be as hard as replacing cars. You can want to do it. You can see the benefits of doing it, but you're not going to do it.
I think this is the most feasible wearable concept I've heard. This is way more feasible than Oculus or glasses or Google Glass or 3D goggles. This is the most Like, this is just a hands-free phone. Essentially, how many people fucking walk around and you can hear them blasting their podcast out into the world or on speakerphone in public?
Speakerphone, Jesus.
I think half of us are fucking there anyways, or they're on their AirPods and they're talking out loud and you don't know if they're talking to you. That used to be a thing. Like 10 years ago, everyone was confused. Oh, you're on your Bluetooth. But now everyone just assumes you're on your fucking Bluetooth.
Dude,
it's so normal.
If you go to any type of retail or food establishment and you're interacting with somebody under the age of 25, 80% chance they've got an AirPod in one of their ears. And it infuriates me. I hate it.
But this is the way of the world. So, like, we are driving.
If you're working here eventually, you're going to have... Listen, you can have...
We're going to have the most draconian phone policy.
You can have them when you're working. I have mine in when I'm working, when I'm stocking or whatever. But as soon as a customer walks in, nothing says, I'm not listening to you more than literally plugging your ear.
Yeah.
It's like you might as well be just like... doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, is this bothering you? My bad. I'll just leave it here. That's what you're doing.
I love this.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, we were just railing on AirPod. Well, we were talking about wearables.
Oh, yes.
So I was making a case for the pin because I think it's basically...
It takes all of the bad things away from the smartphone and still gives you all the good things. So, like, I guess we should describe. We'll put up a picture, but it's a pin that you put on your shirt, and it's got all of the internals and computing power of your phone, but it doesn't have a screen.
So you just tell it to call. You could tell it to call something or play a podcast or play a song.
And so you've got headphones in, and so it can
It's Alexa pinned to your fucking shirt.
But then you can also like hold your hand out, and a laser will project something onto your hand. So like if you get a text message, you can like hold out your hand real quick and read it. So you can still read the information. And
so now you can watch porn on your hand.
Yeah, now it's a
now it's a two-hand experience. You just project it. Well, no, now we're getting weird. Take a left.
Yeah,
take a left.
But anyway, it's like $1,200, and their big marketing thing is it's AI powered. Who knows what the hell that means? But I think this isn't the device to do it. But I think it's like a indicator that the market is ready for another direction. I think we're tired of the smartphone. I don't know what upends it. But
hopefully it's Ozempic. Hopefully Ozempic helps. I love Scott Galloway's concept that it's going to help. I think that's the number one problem with our society is that we're all addicted. We're all addicts. It's Dopamine Nation, right? That is the book that says it. That says everyone is an addict if you grow up in modern Western civilization at this point, whether you're addicted to media or whether you're addicted to porn or whatever it is, and that we're all running around from hit to hit and you're agitated and you're just fucking like, you know.
But so wasn't that not the old way, but you were just addicted to like...
Yeah, in the old way, dopamine was harder to come by.
Yeah, but like when you finally shot or, you know, got down that elk or found those berries, like that had to been
but that was delayed gratification. Like now gratification can just fucking come at you and hit you in droves. We are closer and closer to the Matrix where you can just sit in a room and be in nothing.
I'm on board. I don't know why I'm...
All right, so I don't know. I think phones, yes, obviously there needs to be a change and there's a paradigm shift. I don't know if this is better because I don't know if having an Alexa pinned to your shirt, which is essentially what this would turn into, when's it going to turn off? Are you sure it's not listening to you? When is it not listening to
those
me?
are all the same questions for the
There's at least
problem.
an implicit, like, I know when a phone call's ending and starting. You know what I mean? Like, no one is listening to me right now. I know that they are.
Yeah, I would say, how many times are you somewhere and someone says, "Hey Siri," and everyone's phone blinks up? It's always listening to you.
Yeah. That's a good point.
This, I think, takes away that dopamine hit. There's nothing to scroll. There's nothing to touch, interact with. You just have to...
But I just like that this can be in my pocket or it can be in my car. Or I can leave it somewhere. But if it's in your fucking... You're not going to unpin your pin and like put it in your like glove compartment and then pin it back on.
We put belts
that thing's
on
gonna
and
fucking
belts
live
off.
there.
People put ties on and take ties off. We can grow a behavior to...
Okay. At first, my take was I hate it because I don't want everybody walking around with an Alexa on their fucking shirt. But I guess that's essentially what we're doing with an Alexa in our pocket. So...
Well, not in our pocket, in our hand.
Yeah, in our hand.
And so this takes it out of our hand.
Yeah.
And it moves it from our pocket to our chest. So I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it's cool.
I think it has a better shot than any Google Glass goggle Oculus concept.
The idea of interacting with the internet, not with like a screen and touch, is like a total behavior change that the masses aren't ready to do. But maybe if I think there's going to be more and more niche products where if you want access to the internet without the bugs of owning a phone, there's going to be options for you, and I think that's a cool thing.
Like I just had trouble with my phone because I couldn't get to I couldn't see anything while my phone was ringing. You just saw me struggling with my phone.
That was weird.
I didn't like that. Can you spot the real photos, AI photos? You've got some AI photos.
Okay, so CNET,
the popular board game. CNET, where you'd get like a DVD and then you'd have to watch a DVD clip, and then the question was based off that.
The letters C and the net. I don't know what it stands for.
Oh.
They're like
that makes more sense.
Technology. They were like a big magazine, I think, another website. Anyway, they put together a culmination of some photographs, and you are meant to. Dude, they're coming back.
Yeah, Nickelback is?
Nickelback and Creed.
Dude, that's Suits. Did you see Suits just blew up on Netflix?
Yeah, Carolyn and I just started it.
Suits is the Nickelback of television.
Yeah,
it is so dorky, and
it's hero, villain, here's the problem, and then at the end of the episode, they solve it. And so it's like, yeah.
But it's the number one watch show in the history of shows now. Which Netflix did it. They made it that because they were out of shows. So fuck it, let's run Suits, and then people loved it.
I think people are watching for comfort now, and not to be taken on a entertaining roller coaster.
So Jen got somehow banned from TikTok. This is actually hilarious.
What?
She's the most addicted person to TikTok you've ever met in your entire life. She doesn't post. She doesn't comment. All she does is scroll and watch videos and laugh, and then send videos to her friends.
Yeah, I think that's got to be 80% of the people.
Yes, and so somehow she got banned permanently for it was their violating their standards of some kind. But she's like, I have no idea what the fuck I did. I did nothing. And so she's distraught about it. But she's just replaced that with Friends. We're on season 4. She's going to watch and it's she's brushing her teeth, she's watching Friends. She's cooking, she's listening to Friends. It is all the time now. She's just replaced the dopamine drip that was TikTok with Friends.
I do that. You won't find me not listening to music or a podcast. Yeah. Probably 70% of the day.
Got to have some noise if the silence gets too loud. If you don't,
I guess we are all addicted. I get that.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Well, we're AI photos or something.
Photos. Okay. So some of these are cool. Some of these are not. But okay. I think it's just
they're all above butts.
There's 17 of them, and let's see what percentage of Pat gets correct. So this is just a photo of some mountains, a little foggy background. Real or not?
Oh, I just have to say real or not. I'm gonna guess real.
Answer to photo 1 is AI generated.
Okay, wrong.
Photo number. Oh yeah.
Let's keep her right. Okay.
Second one looks like a desert landscape, some badlands or something like that.
We're gonna go real.
Real. Photo number 2 is real. Death Valley in National Park, California. All right. Photo number 3.
I'm gonna go with fake.
Fake? Yeah, it looks very sci-fi-ish.
But I think they're trying to trick me, and I think they did.
It's real.
Yep, they got me.
It's some Apple thing in California.
No, I like it.
All right. Picture number 4, we have a happy couple standing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, it looks like.
Now I'm going to say it's fake. It's the first time I said it, yeah. No, I said the last one's fake.
Any indication? Or just a hunch?
No, I'm now playing poker against
playing the game.
Against the game, and they're just trying to trick me.
Okay. I'm going to go real on this one. I don't think I made it this far. I don't see...
I think AI wants to brag about how good a human making it can do.
You can't see their hands. That's the biggest indication.
Oh, really?
You can't see their hands. Maybe I'll go fake, too.
AI is afraid of making hands?
It's really hard to do.
Oh, okay.
Fingers. Photo number 4. The couple in front of the bridge is AI generated. Wow, so we're right.
Okay, so 50-50 so far.
Here's a photo. Looks like people in front of... Is there a big glare?
I would guess real just because of the blurs. I wouldn't think that AI would like
be able to do that accurately.
I think they could do it. Well, actually, now that you think of it, all the blurs are hands. I'm wondering if that's their hand fear.
Yeah, but there's some good hands on the bottom. 2, 3, 4, 5. Everyone's got the...
I'm going to say this is fake.
I'm going to go real. All the hands look good. The image is real. Real photograph.
Damn it!
All right. Photo number 6.
Hands look good, I think. No, that bitch is that a weird finger?
Yeah, I don't... Or is it the spoon?
Oh, it could be.
I don't know.
Now all I look at is fingers, so I'm going to say fake. Because
Yeah,
there's
I'm
some
going to go
fucked up
fake on
fingers.
this one, too. AI generated.
All right, thanks for that finger.
Yeah, the finger one is good. All right, photo number 7. Looks like a dude in the woods with his dog.
That's an awkward arm movement. I'm going to go with fake.
Yeah, the way his elbow's placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does look weird. Yep, AI generated.
Boom, I'm now winning. 4-3. Fuck you, robots.
All right, 8. Photo number 8. Oh,
God, look at that. What's going on with that
this
hand?
Is now a game called, is it arthritis or is it AI?
Yeah, I'm going. I hope that's fake. So I hope for that lady's left hand that is AI generated. 'Cause that is some gnarly arthritis.
All right, so the hand looks bad, but the rest of it, dude, that one's pretty clearly, I think, fake. Yeah,
All right,
generated.
dude. The hand rule is not undefeated, but it's doing pretty well.
All right, photo number 9. Looks like a mom and her son.
I'm gonna go real.
I'm gonna go real as well. Yeah, the hand. It looks like the hands are messed up, but I think it's just her other one behind it.
I think this bitch has got big hands.
Real photograph. Mother and her son. Refugee camp in Greece.
Feeling really good now.
All right, now okay. Well, it's gonna get harder because there's no
Okay,
people.
but if we get the next one right, we're at 70%, and that's a C. And C's get degrees.
Okay, that's fair. Photo number 10. Now there's no people in this one.
There's no people. It seems weird though. This is a really shitty plate because that looks like a burnt skillet or something, and then there's like things that indicate burnt around the edge.
So it's almost like it's confusing the plate and the skillet.
Yeah, this doesn't add up to me. So I'm gonna say that this is fake.
Number 10, fake. Yep, number 10 is AI generated.
Yeah, no one has a black plate like that. No one would do that. So this is the next one. This is also avocado toast.
Another avocado toast.
Yeah, I think that this one's real just because it's too shitty for AI to make. It's on a paper plate with a fucking napkin underneath it.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It may be so shitty that only AI would make. I changed my mind. This is fake.
I'm going real. Look at the wood grain in the back. All right. Yep, it's real.
Fuck. Got too cute.
All right. Number 12. This is just a pair of headphones. Those
are sleek headphones. I like them.
This doesn't look real.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fake, but I like the headphones.
Yeah, me too. Just because the product itself doesn't look real. Although it's a pretty convincing product shot. No, it's not. Yeah. Okay, number 13. I'm going to go fake too. Or heavily edited. Just doesn't look like a real pair of headphones.
I'm gonna go real. Just to spice it up.
The gray headphones too are 100%.
Okay, you're right.
All right, back to people. Number 14. She's pretty cute. I'm going real. Even though I can't see her hands, it's a gamble.
I'll go real. Yeah, I have no reason to say she's not, other than the no hands.
Oh, never mind. It is AI. Not a real person.
All right.
All right, number 15. Looks like a little kid skiing.
I'm going to go real. I don't know. I'm pretty bored, to be honest.
It's a real photograph. That one's clearly fake. Yep. This one, number 17. I'm going to go real. What the fuck? 100% real. Yep. Okay. So, that was okay. That was cool. That was exciting at some point.
The last I was counting, we got 8 right and 6 wrong.
So to kind of tie into that, YouTube, I think, is the first big production, I don't know what you would call them, media, people that put out media, allow you to publish stuff that now has there's a paid promotion tag where if you're talking about a product and they gave you money, you had to put a tag underneath your title.
Now you have to do it if you have AI.
Yeah, it has to say, I can't remember what the tag is, but it's a little black box and it says synthetic or altered or visually altered or meant to replicate but is not real or something. And we're coming up on like a year when GTP3 kind of broke the internet.
But it didn't break the internet. It just broke the headlines.
You're still in that camp? You don't think...
You think the internet's inexorably different now than it was a year ago? I don't.
Well, so, I mean...
Are you consuming AI-generated content? I doubt it.
So, 3 days ago, Microsoft has officially, I think, structured what they're going to be branding their AI corner of their business. They've been going with, like, Bing Chat AI, Copilot Bing... Anyway, they just, I think, a pretty available beta announced Copilot, which now, if you go on any Windows, if you've updated it, to the bottom where there's a little start button, there's a little Copilot button, and you open it up and AI is built into the computer now. And like they were talking about it as big as Microsoft 365, so your Word, Excel, PowerPoint suite, which is universally used throughout the entire world. And like they're rolling out a product that I think is going to be equivalent as like universally used, and I don't know, like it's now a main part of their business. It didn't exist 2 years ago.
AI, sure, but ChatGPT, no. ChatGPT has not changed the world in any way, shape, or form. ChatGPT 3 or 4, all it is just like a proliferation of LLMs, which I don't know if LLMs, like AI, yes, it's probably going to be this world-changing thing. Just like crypto may be a world-changing thing, but NFTs weren't. LLMs may just not be. So ChatGPT may not be worth fucking dick.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done. So I just, until they can prove I'm not on top of it. I'm not reading it all, but there seem to be significant bugs,
Yeah.
So,
fair.
And I just think that like AI will get there will be bigger wins in other sectors than reading the internet and regurgitating it to you in the AI world that like will make us maybe stop thinking about LLMs as so significant.
There's the one that mapped the proteins. I don't know what it was called or what that AI is, but there's some medical company that's like mapping out the human genome and like using it to create vaccines and what have yous.
Yeah.
Like that'll probably impact humanity more than the current suite of LLMs. But as far as like the masses, that's the most important part, I think, is the interaction with the technology.
Was it Biden and Xi Jinping were like, one of the things they talked about when they just met was we're not going to like allow AI to get the hands on like the nuke button.
Yeah.
Like they made an agreement. So like if it's scary enough that Xi Jinping and Joe Biden can freaking agree on anything or meet to talk about it, then it's serious shit.
Yeah. Well, it's still, I think, maybe it's not as scary. Maybe it's 90% scarier than dictators having that technology than the AI having that technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a year in. It's a tech. There isn't another thing that's.
You know who knows more than us about this? The people that inform Xi Jinping and Joe Biden.
Yeah,
that's my point. That,
but
like,
do you think they do? Well, what do you?
Yes, for fuck's sake, I hope so.
So if you're Xi Jinping, like, I don't know.
You don't think Xi Jinping's top advisors know more about AI than you and me?
Well, you and I, yeah, for sure. But I don't think that they're at the top of the ladder of the most informed. I don't think Joe Biden's capable of fully grasping what.
I think at some letter, when you get to that point, it's a matter of belief, because at some level you're talking about things that you cannot possibly understand them all. right? There is no generalist in the world who can like talk neuroscience with Sam. What's his name?
At Huberman.
No, I was thinking of God damn it,
Sam Ferris? I don't know.
Whatever. You can't like talk every discipline of everything in a significant depth.
Yeah.
But you have to as the president. So as the leader of the free world, you're going to have conversations where you're way out of your depth. And your main job, I guess, is to not like get caught up on understanding the science of it, but just figuring out who the fuck to believe.
Yeah.
Like which expert to believe.
I mean, all I think about is whenever the Congress talks to the social media companies and like the lack of understanding with that part of technology that's already like a decade old. The idea of having to...
I'm more scared about social media than I am about AI. Now, I'm probably an idiot, but
I think that's the most... Like, that social media is the one currently punching us in the face. Yeah. Like, it makes sense to be worried about
social media makes the human ecosystem so much unhealthier that we can't... Like, we're less prepared to handle whatever the fuck AI brings to the table.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's what terrifies me. But, how's it going? We've been talking for a while, but there's usually a little clip from a podcast. We mentioned it that you and I both listened to.
Yeah, Prof G.
And he had on, I don't even know, Morgan Houselman or something. I don't know who this guy is, but here, just listen to this.
10 richest men in the world, there are a cumulative 13 divorces. And so that's, I think for most people, if you said, would you rather make $100,000 a year? Which for in most places you can provide financial stability for your family. And in that situation, let's assume you have a spouse who loves you, well-balanced kids who admire you, good health, good friends, 8 hours of sleep. Or you can make $1 million a year and have none of those things. It's obvious which 95% of people should pick in that scenario, but we still have the caveman instinct to push for it as much as we can. I know wealthy people. I know you do too, and on average, they are not any happier than people who are just doing okay. They're happier than people who are poor, but are they happier than people who are people who make $10 million a year happier than people who make $100,000 a year? On average, absolutely not. And I think if anything, it leans the other way. The people who are crazy financially successful got that success because they work 100 hours a week. And because of that, they don't have good relationships with their spouse or their kids. They're not well adjusted. They sleep 4 hours a night, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to think that that's kind of my North Star is like, I want to be very financially successful. I want to be more financially successful than I am now. But none of that is going to mean a damn unless I'm spending adequate time with my kids and my wife and my health and my own sleep and my own sanity.
That last sentence kind of perfectly encapsulates like where I feel I've been arriving at for the last few months.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've been feeling the downward effects of loneliness and isolation for that time, and I'm just now realizing, because what we're doing is a trade-off, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Like, that was a pretty... You put that into the Slack to talk about. I was listening to it on the way in, and I figured, that's something I wanted to bring up. So it obviously resonated with both of us.
Yeah, that whole episode was really, really, really good. I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to re-listen to it. But the stat that got me was what he opened up with was the 10 richest men in the world have a cumulative 13 divorces.
Right.
Statistically, if you put it together, that means if you're that rich, there's 130% chance that you're going to have a divorce, which is just a fucking awful stat.
Right.
And so, like, how far down do you go down that ladder? If you are not the 10 richest, but say the 10,000th richest, does that stat go from 130% divorce rate to 90%?
Yeah.
Still unbearably high.
Right.
It's like, at what point does your financial security like match up with like your happiness? Because I think 50,000 is too low.
Yeah.
I think 100,000 is too low. Like, if you're a family of 5.
Used to be 70,000. This is a years-old stat now, but that used to be the magic number. It's, there's some study that from 70,000 to 100 and X thousand, you could get X amount happier, and over 100,000, it was like incremental gains at best, and if at any at all. But up to 70, like that was like where you needed to be on average to meet your hierarchy of needs.
So I've heard that too. Now, is that so? If you
but I think that doesn't account for recent inflation. I think it is closer to 100.
well, I think let's address it. I think let's address that stat even in the time that it was like talked about. I'm assuming that's for individual, not a household.
Right.
So that means mom and dad are both working 9 to 5, taking home $70K, so combined 140 for your 2.5 kids.
Yeah.
That means like the likelihood of you taking your kid and picking them up from school, like that's probably around the time latchkey kid became a term.
Right.
You know, if your car breaks down, probably financial stress and thus like emotional stress on your family for a month, 8 weeks, who knows?
Yeah.
So like it's a low barrier, I think, to strive for. And so like now if you fast forward today, it's almost non-existent. Like it's a fairy tale to look at 70,000 and think that'll
make you happy.
Yeah. And so like he talks about it, like what is that median of financial security where like an accident can happen and I have the peace of mind where I don't have to bring that stress home to my family and my customers and my friends and citizens, and I'm not working so much that I'm creating my own problems and own stress and alienating those people by my own actions instead of the externalities. Like so that like that's the balance I strive for, and yeah, I would argue that it's way more than 100,000
that you need to make in order to. I think it's probably different per person.
Yeah, that's true.
I've made a year where I made like 17,000. I've done that now. I didn't up until a few years ago. I had never done that. Yeah. And if you'd asked me when I was your age, how like money would you need to be happy? Like, but. Like, you gave me 70,000 now?
Oh, yeah.
Coming from where I came from? Holy fuck, I could be real goddamn happy. So I think it's all relative, and we all do it. Like, I know a guy who's like allegedly makes like $900,000 a year, and he's, struggles with the same month-to-month bill paying anxiety that I do. So I think everyone can do it. It's a human condition, and I think it's what we've done to ourselves as a society. And I think that here's the deal. Like, I think you got to zoom out even further. It's about health. It's what he was saying. That's why I'm obsessed at the end, because, like, I don't know. We measure how well we're doing a lot by like the signals of wealth, and not by the signals of health. But like, how do we like? If I don't see friends, I'm not as happy and healthy as I used to be, right? Yeah. And then I operate shittier. If I don't see my spouse, it's the same way. If you saw the Beckham documentary, like he had to go like 7 weeks without seeing his girlfriend at the time, and like it made his play worse, and it like affected him. And like we're just fucking human beings and monkeys and social primates that have needs. And it turns out that like play and talking to other people and touching them and doing it regularly is a need like food and water. And the reason we covet money so much is because it gets you food and water and it gets you your needs. But when money starts to come at the cost of your needs, which it does in our society, like there is no person who gets rich that I've ever met in real life, any podcast, any rich person that we aspire to, who we listen to on Shark Tank, on television, anybody in the entrepreneurial business world who doesn't promote some kind of trade-off of sacrifice and then you'll get a reward, right?
Yeah.
But like, we all know that like you can get addicted to the sacrifice and it's unhealthy. Like we don't pay attention to that balance with health, in my personal opinion, and how it plays into how you can operate and the overall happiness at the end of the day. Because what is the fucking goal? A lot of times I think we put people on a pedestal and say that I want what they have. But if you zoom back and like peel back their life, you wouldn't want what they fucking have. I don't want Will Smith's life right now. Don't want it. You ask anybody 10 years ago, they'd have wanted it. What's changed is there's a lot more fucking windows into it now, and we can see reality.
Yes.
I don't fucking want that life. So would I be better off? Like, who? If you put Will Smith's life up in a snapshot up next to a guy who makes $100,000 that could have been Will Smith but chose to make $100,000, how often am I choosing that $100,000 guy?
Yeah.
Like, the money is supposed to be for needs, but when it starts to come at the cost of your needs, I just think that we don't equate that and monitor that in society.
Yes. I think if you're born under a certain income, that is your starting point. Is to get any money, I have to sacrifice my needs.
Just to service yourself, you have to sacrifice.
Yeah. And like that's
sacrifice is just baked in as part of the deal.
They talk about like you look at you mentioned people who have made it and they talk about a sacrifice. Like I think that's good. Like I think that's part of being a human. That's part of being an animal living just in the world is life. And it's the yin and the yang. Like some of it just sucks. Some of it you have to give up parts of yourself. And it's just, what are you giving it up for? Is it a righteous sacrifice, or is it some, fabricated bullshit that you think is important but isn't?
Yeah.
So like that's part of it is accepting that. Like I'm going to have to give up parts of myself. Now, are you giving it up for like what you love, doing your dream, or like is it for somebody else?
Yeah.
So, like I think that's important. The amount of work I put in here if it wasn't for my dream, it would be an unhealthy amount of work.
Yeah.
But to an extent, it builds me up. Like I love waking up and getting excited about sacrificing, and I love going to bed feeling good about the sacrifices I've made. And like if you combine those two, like it's powerful.
I love getting up and smoking weed. It makes me feel good. And I love going to bed smoking weed. Does that mean it's healthy every day? Right? So, like, just because it feels good, like, people don't do heroin because it feels bad. What I'm trying to say is there's a chance that just because it feels good and fills you up doesn't mean that it's not also unhealthy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fair. But like that's
I'm just
also doesn't mean
it's not objectively true that necessarily it's not like I'm not. I don't know why I'm
winning a
choosing to pick
national
this fight.
championship would have felt less exciting if we had done it our first year and we didn't lose as much.
100%. That's the delayed gratification piece of everything.
Yeah, and like I had to give up. Not like probably all in the outcome. Like at the end, it was all like good sacrifices. But like, that's what I'm talking about. Like you find things that will naturally sacrifice things that are not important, and you'll gain things that are important.
Right.
So it's finding that balance. I forgot. In that last podcast, he mentions like we have this window into everyone's lives that we can compare what we have to them, and like that difference is what makes up our unhappiness. So
we used to compare ourselves to our neighbors, and now we compare ourselves to Kim Kardashian and The Rock.
And at the height, you could be like, oh, he got the expensive trim of the pickup truck, and my dad just has the regular base model pickup truck. And that would be the extent of wealth disparity that you would be able to witness on your block or in your neighborhood.
Right.
Not like fucking someone's taking a helicopter to a sporting venue.
A yacht and a bicycle.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't even know that existed. It would just be fairy tales.
Yeah.
We're approaching a point in our life where, like, if I just want the base model truck and I want some type of peace of mind, if that gets into a wreck, I have to have $40,000, just laying around to replace it, that I can get a reliable vehicle that will transport my family safely and, like, fulfill the needs I have for that vehicle. Like that's a lot of money. Our parents didn't have to have like $40,000 lying around to plug these emergencies that will happen.
Yeah.
Not like acts of God, but just living life accidents.
Right.
And like if you're not born with that, I think you have to sacrifice to get it.
100%. There's no doubt that that's baked in. I'll just be honest. Like what I struggle with is the health piece, right? Like and we've talked about it, and when we've had discussions, as like recovery, right? Like Yes, you have to kill yourself and you have to make sacrifices and you have to play like every game is the last and push through the pain. But if you do that on a broken leg, you'll physically be unable to complete the game. So there's two ways to lose the game: not fight through the toughness and win the game, or fight through the toughness so hard that you can't finish the game. And I have personally been on the verge of not like I don't know if I go further if I'll be able to finish the game.
Yeah.
And so that's where I get to, like, sometimes you got to fucking pull back and be like, this internal pressure to get across some place is internal, and realize that that's internal, and that is not always a healthy internal emotion or action, because it comes at the cost of health elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, it's just, shit's not binary. And when he said that I'll argue with, it was about divorce. And that's what resonated with you. And I'm not like, this isn't a you or me thing, but like, life is more than that. We have convinced ourselves. This is everything I hear about evolutionary, from fucking Scott Galloway, from Dax Shepard, from whatever. 100 people. That's what we're supposed to live in. We're built still as human beings biologically to live in a tribal society of 100 to a couple hundred people. And that's how big our networks should be.
Yeah.
But we have convinced ourselves now that human beings should live in pairs of fucking two. And maybe 1.5 or 2.5 in your tribe, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that we can live without it. I live in my house with one generation, and then we raise our other one, and we get them the fuck out, and then we're back to one generation. That was the American dream. Well, we biologically as human beings are not baked to do that. And now the problem is that we have a new generation that's trying to live as one. Maybe I can, instead of going through the pain and awkwardness of what it takes to become paired up with another person to become a team of two, I can just fill it with porn, or I can fill it with Tinder sex, or I can fill it with this, or video games, or food. And I can just live as a person of one with all my needs fulfilled. Well, one of your fucking needs is not just a romantic partner. Other needs are having status within a group of friends, being in an in-group that is not your romantic partner.
Yeah.
We need more than our romantic partner. So if we're going to be successful as a business one day, I don't want the lesson that I learned to be, great, I have the money, I have no fucking friends, no joy, no one to share this happiness with. And so, yes, it's a balance, but like, there's only one. I feel like most of the time we only pay attention to one side of that balance.
Well, okay, so here's my counter argument. Well, I won't even call it an argument or a counter. Like, I think, we'll call it hustle culture, has come under a lot of fire, and like I think we would agree that there's an overabundance of people just being like grind your way through.
Right.
And like people, like, you can dial that back a little bit and work really hard, but then you can take that same attitude and like apply it to the things that we all just mentioned matter. Like I wake up and I've forced myself to go to the gym because there's a group of people that, like, Caroline and I can... The dude at the desk now knows who we are. And, like, when we didn't go to the gym for a month, we walked in, and for the first minute, he gave us shit. And it felt so good that, like, this stranger, who our only interactions with are at this gym,
right,
and are centered around working out, it's broken... It's past just the customer-employee relationship. There's now a personal relationship. And that was built through, like, hard work of shoving myself to the gym every morning and, like, building a routine with Caroline so that, like, when I don't want to go to the gym, she forces us to go to the gym. So, like, you just have to have the same attitude about the healthy things. Like, that's why, like, it's easier to get sent to your parents' basement. And I think it's easier to be ill-equipped to, like, start out, to get out of your parents' basement. But if you, like, sit down and try really hard for a week, you can come up with the plan. Like, there's more...
You can. It is harder, though. I think you don't think it's harder. It is harder. It is more expensive to get rent. It is more expensive to do everything.
Those things are all true.
Inflation is higher now.
All true.
So it is harder now for anybody to get out of their parents' basement than it ever was for you at any time in your life.
There's other parts of, like, the situation that have changed. Like, it is now easier to get an education. It's easier than ever to get a degree. There's more community colleges.
There's also more debt.
Online schools. Also true. It's a choice. Like I didn't need to go to a 4-year school, but I did. I can get education. There's a technical school my brother's going to. Good God, he's going to be set up to be making 6 figures 2 years after he graduates.
That's awesome.
Starting just because he's going to a technical college in a field that's going to be in high demand.
Yeah.
So like it's like that's an option for you. So like, I know it's. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm suddenly like
defensive.
Yeah, because what he said mattered a lot. Like it is important. Like I feel some of the pressures he talks about. Like we'll kind of get gender with it. Like as a man in society, as a man in a household, I do feel like I need to make sure that I'm not necessarily providing for my family, but I am not a drain on it.
Yeah.
Like I can't be a financial liability. And that is harder to do than ever. And like he talks about it, like it's something. I think you have to take that seriously, and you can't just like live 5 years discussing how burdensome that is and how difficult it is. Like you have to take up arms and run straight into the problem and fight it.
Yeah.
And you have to like hustle the fuck out of it. Otherwise, you'll just get rolled over. So like I get the unhealthy mentality, and that you can take things too far, and you can exchange money for the things that matter, and you can exchange time and energy for things that matter. But like if you're born under a certain threshold, there's a level of sacrifice that you have to give to get to a certain point.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think in principle we do agree, and I think that like the fact that we're partners in a business and we've had these arguments, and like you probably definitely disagree with decisions I make, and I disagree with decisions you make, like that definitely colors the defensiveness and like this conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, we're sitting here having a conversation for public consumption.
Yeah.
That if we were Ross and Joey on Friends, we would go down like throwing examples at each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think in principle we agree. It's hard to know when you're in the fight. Like
because like we take Sundays off now, and it's been huge. Love it.
Yeah.
Like it took, and I was defensive about like that decision, immediately. But like after a little bit, I was like, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
So like I'm not immune. Like I get it.
Well, there's trauma in this business that, like, in our relationship in the last 3 years that colors why you would be defensive about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But like, I'll say this: when we got into this, I remember Carol Spinsky was like one of the people that was like the most like, Pat, stop and think. Like, this is gonna be fucking hard. Yeah. And I know you're getting into it with people that you trust and and love, but it's gonna test your relationships. It's gonna pressure them. And like, I've heard her in the back of my head, in the last 2.5 years we've done this multiple times.
Yeah, there's a lot of voices
being
from
like,
a lot of people
fuck me, that's what you were talking about. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But like, so now I think around, and not to just belabor the point, but like, that's the same voice that like I want to avoid. Every old person that made money that turned around and was like, where was everybody that I wanted to be around? Like, it was all for naught. Like, I don't want to learn that and be like, oh, that's what it was. Or I don't want to be like Scott Galloway talking about a podcast in my 50s about how a business I had ruined one of my marriages.
Yeah.
That's not the outcome. Like, I don't want to learn that lesson and look backwards from it.
So, okay, I'm making a realization. I'm definitely just getting defensive. But like, I've already made this choice several times. And I told Caroline when we started our relationship that I'm doing something that I value incredibly important.
Right.
More than most people would rationalize valuing it, I guess.
Right.
And it's scary to like question that, Like I've put Gnarly Hustle as a brand ahead of many things in my life.
Yeah.
And while it sucks, I currently feel good about the choices and path I'm taking.
Yeah.
But like to question that is, like frightening, I guess.
What do you mean to question it? You think that's what I did, or you think I just questioned it?
No. For me to be like, is starting a brand when we did it and continuing it the right decision? Of course, like we think about that.
Yeah.
And we think about like, well, what if I had, like done this, or what if in a year we make this change, and like, so you constantly are weighing like what I could be doing if I weren't doing this.
It's a life-changing decision. I imagine anybody who ever gets married has the exact same thought. Anybody who ever has a kid has the exact same thought.
Yeah.
Did I fuck this up? Should I have done it differently? Should I have done it with a different person? Should I have done it at a different time? Should I have waited until I had more money? Should I have done whatever?
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, like you have to.
So I have this.
I don't know that you can ever be like, okay, now I'm ready to do this. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's like I accept that, but then I have this hubris that if I listen to enough of these people who share their mistakes, I'll be smart enough to not repeat them, which I feel like I'm doing an okay job at.
Yeah.
But I can also already identify areas where I've repeated mistakes that I've listened people make, So like that's where I get kind of scared, where like I think I've been making the right decision for a year, 5 years, 10 years, and then like you hit that pivot point and you look back and you're like, oh fuck. So like
I think we have too, and I think that the reason that things are above water here is because we both feel that way.
Yeah.
Is that we both feel that this thing that we've sacrificed for still has more value than liability, and that we both like our chances. Like if we were to be pulled out of the game and go up to the fucking press box or go out to the fucking sports book and be standing at the window and say, who am I going to bet on to win this game? And then sub ourselves back in, we still like our chances to win the fucking game.
Yeah.
So like when that changes, I think that's when it could get rough, right? So like, but right now I feel like great about, like I still feel really good about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It is what it is. I think this is the yin and yang of it. This is the push and the pull. This is the black and the white of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
that you have to, that's I think the only thing you're allowed to appreciate and accept as like the reality. Is like appreciate that while there's bad, there's also good.
Yeah.
And if there's only good, then you're probably
just missing
a
some
lot
shit.
of bad. Yeah.
There's some bad coming. You just have been missing the writing on the wall.
Yeah. So yeah, things are going as life should.
That's how's it going. That's the most thorough how it's going we've ever delivered. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully this gets out to you, and hopefully next week the next one will too. See you later.
Peace.
I don't know how long that was.
That was long.